Hello everyone and welcome back to Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. Prowler only. Last time we took on Dread Queen Rathian G5, and this time we'll be taking on one of our final two deviants. Should be pretty obvious, Drilltusk Tetsucabra G5. We'll be saving that special other one for later. I've already completed it. It was about a 30-minute hunt, past 30 minutes, so expect at least 30 minutes here. I'm using my poison weapon. I'll talk about that later. We'll go ahead and take the quest. All right, we are starting with a Snow Baron Lagombi, and then we'll go into a Zamtrios. Trying to remember what it's called. Whenever we are at 30% of Snow Baron's health. Shouldn't be too terrible. Took me about 10 minutes to get through Snow Baron entirely in my test hunt, so hopefully not too much longer here. The poison is going to be putting in a lot of work, considering the fact that the only real shared elemental weakness is somewhat of fire between Snow Baron and Zamtrios. I cannot remember what it's called. Yes, thunder is also kind of a shared element, but it's not particularly good against any of them except maybe Zamtrios, and Zamtrios is just a regular Zamtrios that doesn't have that much health, doesn't have hyper modifiers either, so it's not really that terrible. Poison, however, is pretty much just going to be on the monsters the entire hunt, so it's going to be somewhat more useful here. We just have to make sure we're actually going for weak spots a little bit more. Obviously we want to do that anyways, but for sure if we don't want our damage to fall behind, we definitely want to keep aiming for those weak spots. Thankfully, since it is a deviant weapon, once again we do get that extra gauge gain whenever we hit our attacks, so we'll be able to use a lot more mega boomerangs as long as we do them correctly. And same rule of thumb as the last two times I've said, if the monster's looking at you, just get ready to dodge, because there are some instant attacks that Lagombi can kind of pull out. Depends on how you consider them to be instant. He can pull out that instant tackle. He hasn't shown it yet, I believe, but it is something you want to keep in mind. So just attack him while he's on cooldown, force him to do a head turn, and then get out of the way. I think the scariest thing is that triple snowball toss. He does two of them usually. He can sometimes only do one, which can hit you if you're even off to the side or if you've dodged only one time. So you might want to save your dodge just to evade that if it looks like he's winding up for it. Does a lot of these little repositioning attacks. It's the same thing as the G5 Snow Baron that we fought, just with a little bit less health since he is not the main focus of the hunt. He's gonna do another triple volley here. Hopefully we go in under that, and we do. Go ahead and apply our piercing. We're gonna wait for the snowdrift here. I always like to dodge that because it has a fairly wide hitbox. It's gonna toss that snowball. I don't think it'll hit us. I didn't think it'd curve that much. You can tell it's been a while since I fought Snow Baron, but I did just fight it like 10 minutes ago, so it's not, you know, something I should be that rusty on. Throw that out, roll it, just dodge into it. I'm not even going to try to get around it anymore. We do have Eye Splat, which makes it so we can't dodge multiple times in a row. That's not fun. However, we do have earplugs, and something that I did neglect to do is switch off of element attack up. So instead of having element attack up, you can have critical up small, at the very least for what our skill set currently has. And if you want non-stick fur or whatever, or just another utility skill, I think you could do probably like attack up large. That is a 3-slot skill, I think, if you for some reason have it on your cat. We're not losing too much damage off on it. I mean, yeah, it is 3 points, so it can be used for something, but 30 minutes compared to the other monsters we've been fighting isn't too terrible. Just did one there, showing how he can just kind of split it up into half. Doing another 2. Keep going for the face and the arms here. Snow Baron is also just not a very weak monster hitbox wise or hit zone wise, so going for the top part of his body is your best bet. Anything else is just going to be very mediocre damage wise. Not that we can really see damage numbers, but it is still good to kind of aim at those spots, that way you're not taking too long on it. Did a little pin grab there, didn't hit us though. Doing a tackle into a spin. I'm going to expect him to do something. He's just throwing that snowball up. That one definitely will not curve around and hit us unless it just defies all the laws of the Monster Hunter physics. Boomerang out here. There's another snowball toss. He's picking this one up so we get some free hits on him before he throws it down. We're going to try to dodge the trimmer. It splits into 3, so always be careful of that. If you dodge the trimmer hitbox from the snowball hitting the ground, you'll be invincible while the 3 little snowballs come out of the ground, or go into the ground. They don't come out of the ground. I should have definitely made sure I dodged that one there, but it's fine. Snowdrift. Don't mind getting hit here. I just need to recover it off anyways. Thankfully, we can do that with Soothing Roll. There's a roll there. That roll, I believe, will apply Ice Splat if your ice defense is low enough. I believe we have some ice resistance, right? Yeah, we have 8, which is not the best, but it's also not the worst. It's not negative, which means we'll be taking even more damage. We're positioning over here, so he is going into his slide kick. It's perfect for us. Probably could start using some Mega Boomerangs if I look for an opening here. That would have been one, but we were applying our buff again. All right, little grab. Probably would have been in a good position for that too, but he did move after it, so maybe it wouldn't have hit. I think this will be a good opportunity. It does take him quite a bit to recover from the slide kick, which is perfect chance for us to actually get that out without being punished for it, thankfully. Couple of boomerangs here. Looks like he's going after our Go Fight Wind Palico. Try to close the distance. I think I'll sheathe here and try to play a little more defensively until I see what he's going to do. He's doing this attack, that roll. Once again, will apply you with Ice Splat after he does the jump slam, so be careful. The jump slam will also apply Tremor whenever he hits the ground from it. Snow Drift, definitely close enough to not have to worry about sheathing or anything like that. Dodge the triple snowball toss. Try to keep it. I don't want to keep him at range too much because a lot of his attacks do move him quite a bit, so it can move him out of range and make it a little bit harder to fight in general. Not that his attacks are more difficult to dodge, it's just that we want to keep some consistent damage on him, especially when he loses the poison. That way we can get it back up as soon as possible. And the more he slides around and gets away from us, the harder it is to actually be consistent with. This is a bit gritty. He can throw these out. Hopefully they won't hit us. Even if they do, we got it out in time, so it won't be too terrible. We'll at the very least keep the damage on it. Okay, I was gonna just throw one there, didn't actually get it out, but I was anticipating him to turn and do a slide tackle. All right, we are jumping into these attacks. I need to slow down, focus on what he's actually doing. We're gonna wait this attack out since we have our rage mode. Go ahead and soothing roll since it was free. All right, boomerang out here. Reapply our big boomerang here since that one didn't even hit. All right, he's doing that attack. Another one. Really likes that attack. It's his favorite thing to do, just kind of in a neutral stance, other than tackling. All right, I'm going to charge one here to get some extra distance on it. He's pushing that, so that shouldn't reach us. 2 boomerangs there. He's looking at us for a tackle, so I'm just going to wait. Do a little pin grab. I don't think it actually pins you, but it looks very similar to Arzuros's pin grab, which he doesn't do very much, but Legambi does it a lot more. Wait and see what he does, doing a slide kick. That will do a lot of damage, and I believe that does automatically apply stun, from what I remember. Could be remembering it wrong, though. All right, boomerang out here. Dodge into the little ending of that roll there. Go ahead and apply piercing. I'm going to throw one out here, wait and see what he does. He's repositioning once more. We'll go ahead and punish that. Dodge off to the right. He's doing this. Wait for him. Expect him to do another one. He's not. He's doing a slower just butt slam. Into that. Dodge into the roll. Get some damage off here. He's going to do a butt slam. That will do Tremor. I tried to dodge into it off to the side so I could get a good angle, but that didn't really work out. We didn't hit the actual hitbox. Instead, we got Tremored instead. Say that word twice. All right. Snowball volley. 2 here. Now, the bad thing, in fact, I'm going to actually start drawing Legambi over here. So, Zamtrios will appear somewhere over there in the first hunt. I got Legambi completely for free all the way over here without having to worry about it. And that was just because his attacks were leading us all the way over here. So hopefully if we can keep doing that, we don't have to worry about fighting 2-on-1. All right, he's repositioning. 2 here. Wait and see what he does. He's doing a drift, so I'm going to catch him with that boomerang. It does flinch him. Now, if I didn't throw that one out immediately, I would have been able to get this out a little bit safer. It should still go out, but we might be damaged or something like that. He did retreat, so we weren't punished by it, but it was something we could very easily be punished by. Throws out that snowball. Does a reposition. I'm going to throw this out here in case he does something forward like that, which is good. He did. He did actually miss us. He misjudges his movement, which is weird to see from the AI, but it does that a lot in the older games. So much so that when the monster is actually programmed, I guess, to judge the distance correctly, you're a little thrown off by it. All right, he's exhausted. Get a couple of boomerangs there. We're going to go ahead and rev this one up, get it out. He will be out of his exhaustion animation by the time we break free, but we have been broken free, so we can actually dodge. I don't think that will pierce through. Maybe it hit one time, but that's not really that important. He's doing this animation again, so I'm just going to try to get some damage off here quickly. That way he confirms some gauge and get more Mega Boomerang juice. He fell over from that tackle, which is good. So we'll go ahead and get 2 off here. I wouldn't be surprised if Zamtrios appears after this one, as long as we don't miss it. And we didn't. We got a flinch. All right, there's Zamtrios on the map. I'm going to keep focusing on Lagombi, though. We shouldn't be in range to actually aggro Zamtrios, so we should be good as long as we don't go over there. I think Lagombi can just kind of be annoying to him, but if we're not far enough or close enough to him, then it won't do anything there. I should have reapplied our piercing buff there. Thankfully, we got a cheer horn, which lets us do that, so we weren't punished for it. And we get a free Mega Boomerang off too. It's not free, it costs 1 gauge, but still. We want to get as many of those out as we can because they are a lot of damage. All right, we're going to go ahead and Soothing Roll. Since it's free, very nice clutch cat skills coming in. Can't always rely on them to do that, but since this is a lower level hunt, the cats are going to be alive a lot more and buffing us quite often. Did that little pin grab. He's doing this, so I'm expecting a slide kick or something. Something forward, not necessarily a slide kick since it's slower. We're assuming the faster thing, which would be the instant tackle out of a different slide tackle. Couple of boomerangs here. He's going to tackle away. He's too far away for us to feel safe, so I'm just going to wait. Stay at a distance. Kind of looks like Zamtrios model is not even moving. In fact, I don't think it is at all. I've never seen that. Is it moving? I can't tell. His face is not moving at all. Okay, he's moving a very small amount, but since his AI is dormant, he's not, you know, looking like he's supposed to in a neutral stance. Either that or that is just what Zamtrios is supposed to look like. Very statue-like figure that flips his tail around. All right, that was my bad. Should have assumed something because he was looking at us. 2 boomerangs here. Comes a jump slam. Dodge the trimmer. Get away from the roll. 2 boomerangs here. He's doing the bear swipe, which is terrible on Lagombi. It doesn't last very long. It doesn't do that much damage, and it doesn't cover that much distance. However, I did misjudge the distance, and he did reach us. It's better to turn or force him to turn with that. That way, he will lose a lot of distance that he can get. All right, he's doing this attack again, so we get some free hits off. That won't even reach us with the trimmer. He's attacking Benkai, so that's great for us. I'm going to go ahead and free you. That way you can get back to work. Have a go fight win. Great. If you keep attacking our Palico there, I get plenty of free chances for this. You are doing a triangle attack, though. I don't think it always goes in a triangle, but that was conveniently triangular shaped. Prowling at us. We keep throwing boomerangs. Approach to the right. Go ahead and hold this. Make sure I don't just throw it and miss it. One more. There we go. That's what we were assuming. And now Lagombi is down. Snow Baron specifically. And we get to go say hi to our friend. Now, will he notice this instantly? No, he won't. He doesn't move around either. Some monsters at the very least move around, but I guess Zamtrios just isn't programmed to move around whenever he's idle. Very weird. All right, we've got our piercing boomerangs back up. This is a very cheap attack. It's not that cheap once you notice it, but if he's just standing there still, looks like he's charging something up, you want to assume it's going to be the sweeping beam. The sweeping beam is the worst one because it covers the most area. He can also tackle after it, but I believe he's a little more scrunched up for that animation whenever he charges. And I want to say he also has to be in ice form, but he might not be. You can see he's already poisoned, which is where this weapon is putting in a lot of work. The other attack he can do from that similar stance is just a forwards ice beam that kind of sweeps back and forth. But the worst one is the one that spins. Because it comes fairly quickly. Like, it starts out slow and then it ramps up very quickly, which makes dodge timing a little bit more difficult if you aren't used to it. Snowball out. Of course, once he is in ice mode, you get the leg refresh on the parts. So if you've already broken the legs standardly, you'll get another chance to topple the monster over, which is great. And they're even more brittle here, I believe, which is good. This is greedy. That was the attack that he charges into a tackle. All right, I'm going to go ahead and charge this here and go ahead and heal since it's free. I want to get back up to, at the very least, half. All right. Not going to do that because we did run out of go fight win. If I still had it, I would have been up to half, but we didn't. Doing us close range attacks right now, great for us. We don't have to worry too much about him. Now we've toppled him over because we broke one of the ice arms, and we'll be able to get a Mega Boomerang out there. We break the other one, so unfortunately we won't be able to capitalize on it getting a second topple, but that's fine. I want to say, so for Drilltusk, when you break his back legs, they will also give you a topple. I'm not sure if that works for Zamtrios here too, if they are a breakable part. They're not particularly great, and you saw me there just completely blinding the tail for the ice spin because it's weird. It does kind of look like an idle animation. You shouldn't be assuming he's just an idle. You're wanting to punish as much as possible, and you get kind of used to it sometimes, especially if he's fighting your Palicos. You might think, oh, well, he's just fixing to charge up a tackle or something into them, and he pulls that out and hits you, and then you're kind of taken aback by it. I guess I don't think that's the right phrase for it. You are very surprised. Go ahead and apply piercing once more, and he is now in the weakest point of his transformation phases, which is great for us. We like to get a lot of damage off here, especially if we had a little bit more gauge, we would be using our Mega Boomerangs. However, we did just kind of lose it. So I think I'm going to try to just rapid fire and get as much gauge as I can. All right, good. Worst part about this form is the tremors that he does whenever he jumps. So if you're very close to him, you'd have to dodge those. But since we're not, kind of get some free shots off here on a very, very, very weak spot. And it's not like his ice armor is even that tanky. You know, it has some brittle spots, which is good. So it's not like, you know, when he's in normal state, he takes normal damage. When he's in the ice armor state, he takes a very little damage, and then he will inflate and take a lot of damage. It just is more like ice armor in normal mode. He takes normal damage, and then he takes a lot of damage here. Heard something break, I believe. I want to say there's probably a shiny on the ground. There is. I'm not sure what that's from. Maybe from a snowball or something. I don't think he dropped snowballs that drop parts, though. All right, we'll get Tremor. One of those Tremor attacks I was talking about earlier. Now he's deflating. That will hit you, and it will apply Ice Blight. So if you don't like Ice Blight, you probably don't want to be that close to him when he deflates. You can get an Adept Dodge off on it and ignore the rest of the attack, but depends on where you are in your attack animation if you want to actually do that. All right, dodge the jump. He's looking at us, so we want to dodge one more. Try to mix him up here, dodge in a different direction. It does that tackle. This is a bit greedy, but I think we'll be able to get it off. We will get a topple from it. Won't get a topple. We'll get a tail break, which is good. Spin here. Get some free damage because he's transforming back into his ice mode. I'm going to go ahead and get another spin off. Doing a tackle. 2 boomerangs here. Little ice volley. I'm going to dodge to the left here. All right, that shouldn't reach us. Very good. We get a topple. Go for another Mega Boomerang here. I'm going to try not to aim it at the leg. That way we can maybe get another topple. I believe it broke the tail. And now we'll start looking for that other topple from the ice break. This is the spin attack. Okay, nope. We flinched him out of it, though. Or at the very least did enough damage to throw him into his inflation mode. Balloon mode? I'm going to call it balloon mode. That makes a little more sense. It's like a water balloon. All right, we'll be hit by that. That's a very easy attack to dodge into. I just like to make things harder on myself. All right, that shouldn't hit us at all. Get some free damage off here. Go ahead and reapply big boomerangs. I would like to maybe get a stock going for Drilltusk whenever he appears. That way we can hit him with some free Mega Boomerangs at the start of the fight. So I think we'll probably hold off a little bit on actually using those here. All right, expecting an attack. It's doing the rollback. Not really a roll back, it's roll forward, but to jump back into a roll forward. Rollback assumes he is rolling backwards, which he is not. All right, we're gonna spin, do some stuff here very up close since we can. All right, he's doing this again. Oh, never mind, faked us out. He is exhausted, which is good. I don't know if he deflates whenever he's exhausted or if it's just whatever mode he's in. I want to say he probably does deflate. Yep, he's doing it here, so we'll go ahead and get this off since it is 1 bar. In fact, we'll go ahead and get 2 off. Why not? Now, we've already broken the tail, which is good. I think fire does very well there. And since you notice he's rapidly changing forms, you can tell he's fixing to die. And that's what happened. He went through all of his phases very quickly there. Go ahead and carve him up since he's not fighting with anyone else. So we have the chance. We would have carved Snow Baron. It's not that important since we don't make armor from it. But if you do need just random parts from Snow Baron for hunter stuff, then go ahead and make it. I guess Snow Baron stuff is good if you don't have the Snow Baron stick yet. Though I don't know if Snow Baron drops the parts you would need for the double cross variant. So that's not maybe something you can get. Don't believe there are any drops over here either. There might be. This is a map in 4 Ultimate along with the Sanctuary, so it would make sense if there was a spot, but I am not seeing it. Realistically, it probably wouldn't make that much sense to have a random sprout of grass in a sea of ice, like maybe if there were patches of grass, but there's not. Especially with all the ice monsters roaming around. I mean, the Lagambi is here, which eats mushrooms, and I don't see any mushrooms, so I don't know how that works. Either way, we get a free Mega Boomerang off here, and I'm just going to reapply our buffs, since we really didn't get that much gauge. Alright, we're at the 20-minute mark, so hopefully 10-15-minute hunt at the very least for this monster. We're going to go for breaking the tusks. Usually that's what we want to do with Drilltusk, and really there's not much of a difference between this one and the cross variant. The biggest thing is that he can suplex his boulders, which, you know, it's similar to Gammoth at the very least. It'll catch you off guard the first few times, and if you're a little rusty on the fight, then you won't notice it, but it's a very obvious tell compared to Gammoth, which doesn't seem as obvious until you realize that, hey, she's moving forward towards me backwards instead of making an effort to actually turn around. And I believe that Drilltusk still even picks up the wide and long boulders in the cross form, in the cross quest specifically, and even before then, it's the low and high rank versions still do the same thing. So it's not even like that special, I believe. Here's the suplex. Just go ahead and dodge that. Timing does feel a bit off because the time the animation actually starts to move down is very short compared to when it actually lands, so it can throw you off a bit, but that's what you have the first 4 quests to get used to. The timing on that. Since it is a very large attack, I don't know if it's an attack that stuns you. That might be his charge jump, which is not great. And one of the worst, it's not terrible, it's something you have to get used to. You can't be too close to Drilltusk because whenever he has a boulder in his mouth, he's going to flinch you a lot as he turns with the boulder in his mouth. Does not do that much damage at all, but it can get annoying if you're trying to position away and he just kind of keeps turning. And I think that's the idea. They don't want you too close to his face, even though it does have somewhat good damage. I don't think the tusks are great damage, but once you break that, you have free access to the head, which is the good spot. I don't think really he has any terrible hit zones all the way down his body. His tail's not great, and I want to say his back or body isn't great either, but the legs are okay. And like I said before, you can break all of the legs and get topples from them, which is really nice. And of course, you can still just get regular topple damage too. Bit greedy of me to do that. He normally combos those jumps together, but I didn't think it was worth my time, I guess, to dodge it. Couple of boomerangs here. One more out. He's gonna jump. Trimmer. Just dodge the trimmer in case. Now he's doing this combo jump here, so we're just gonna wait it out. We're gonna assume 3. Doesn't do 3. Instead, he does the tackle similar to Zamtrios. It's very similar. They share the same skeleton, so I guess it makes some sense. All right, go ahead and spin here. There we go. Charge jump. Go ahead and punish him here for it. Spin. Now, you can outrun that, and if you have a lot of Mega Boomerang options, or a lot of chances to use them with your bar, go ahead and try to outrun that. That way you don't have to worry about dodging the trimmer, because if you do dodge the trimmer, you can still get it out, but he will be up and moving by the time you let it go, so it might miss, depending on what he does next after it. We're gonna wait for him to just maybe not hit us with this. It's a very goofy animation. All right, here comes the suplex. This has actually quite a bit of downtime from it, so you also get another chance. This is a very opportune fight for Mega Boomerangs, which is very nice. Since it is your largest source of image, you will be able to abuse those quite effectively. All right, he's pulling up another boulder. And after some of the boulder tosses, I don't remember which ones, he will taunt, which is another great chance for you to use Mega Boomerang. I just don't remember. Like that one he did, but I don't know what specifically the tell is for that. And it might be the big one, but I want to say I've tried it after the big one and he hasn't just stood there and then I got hit for it. So it's not something you want to assume. This is where the little slight nudges from the monster get a little scary when you're up close to him at low health, because you will take a lot of damage quickly that way for how much you actually have. You're going to assume that's going to be an attack, but it is a slow one. Maybe this is the one where he taunts after. Okay, so if it's the stationary one where he immediately pulls it up, we're going to assume that is the one where he taunts after. And that one, he's just pulling them up. He always pulls them up in twos. That way, or at the very least from what I've seen, he only pulls them up in twos. So that's a great chance for you to throw a Mega Boomerang again. Go for the tail here since it is softened while he's holding a boulder. All right, I think this will be another chance, maybe. Yes. And while he's doing that idle animation, he will still have his tail softening. So another great spot for Mega Boomerang. It's giving us another opening here while he's enraged. Bit more greedy, but that's fine. We'll get a flinch on him. 2 boomerangs there. We'll dodge to the right. Does a hop. Dodge to the left. That will still hit us though, so we might want to... I don't know. It's really a gamble if you're really that close to his face. What you actually want to do to try and avoid an attack. Alright. Stay at range here. He's going to jump into the air. Doesn't really cover a lot of distance, so we're fine. Alright. Oh, no, that's not what I meant to do. It's fine. He did the suplex anyway, so I probably would have been hit if I didn't do that. So, worked out. Slam there. Very obviously, or obvious tell for the hip check. I don't really want to call that hip check. It's more just like a side slam. And we have now broken a tusk. Have easier access to the head, which is good. Dodge to the left here. Didn't really actually position us out of the way, but it did get an adept dodge, which is nice. 2 more boomerangs there. Dodge to the left. Unfortunately, the delay on the timing of the boulder being pulled out of the ground does lead to us getting hit quite often. But again, it doesn't do that much damage. He is a lower tier deviant, so you can't expect too much from him damage-wise. But you do have to be careful in some scenarios. You can let your guard down quite a bit. All right, he's digging these up, so we're going to go ahead and throw this out. That was actually a big one. Might take him longer to get the bigger ones out of the ground, because the ones I've seen before weren't quite that big when I was paying attention. We're just going to wait. I don't want to be hit by that and then applied with Ice Blight. Have to heal that off. That's a whole scenario I don't want to have to deal with. And we're going to assume a tackle or something. He's throwing that into the air. He's exploding it. And he's hopefully going to taunt. He is taunting. I'm not going to aim at the tail there because I could have actually, but it's fine. I didn't want to hit the tail with the Mega Boomerang because that's not great whenever it's hardened. Up into the air, down on the ground. We'll dodge the trimmer. We'll be hit because I was mashing X out of that. Stay out of the way. He's going to taunt once more. It's actually going to go into enrage and cancel the taunt, which is good for him. Not quite so good for us. All right. Keep dodging here. I'm going to try to get at distance though. Our dodges don't carry us too far compared to how large he is, so it is a little bit more difficult to position around him sometimes. His head turns aren't as rigid as some other monsters, which makes some sense. He is a 4th generation monster. He's going to keep jumping around, so I'm going to wait, see if he drops this, maybe suplexes it. I think he's going to try. Yep. If he dashes forward really quickly for what he normally moves around with, that means he's fixing to do the suplex. All right, get some nice damage on the tail there. Go for the leg. Haven't broken a leg yet, but that's fine. All right, I'm going to disengage here because I don't want to deal with that. He hops, boomerang out. Suplex. You go ahead and apply this instead of throwing a Mega Boomerang out. Could have maybe been smarter to throw a Mega Boomerang out and then just reapply piercing, but this works fine too. All right, he's doing this attack, so it's great for us to get some damage off. If he's really laboring in the ground with pulling a stone out, he's doing this little rock pull. They're all rocks. They're not like icicles or anything. They're all just rocks. And it's not always ice. It is a dependent factor whether or not he's on ice or on lava. I believe he has lava rocks and just regular rocks too. Just gonna stand here and talk for us, so we'll get some damage off in the face. Ooh, yep, another great chance for us to do this because he's just pulling these out. Now, if he had maybe done the second one as well, that may have actually hit us, but thankfully it didn't. Get this other one out as well. We're at the 30-minute mark, so we are at the very least going to be maybe a little bit longer. I don't know how low of a health he is on though. That is certainly a sentence. All right, he's gonna do a charge up. Wait for him to land. Dodge the trimmer. Since we don't have enough gauge for a mega boomerang, we're just gonna apply our big boomerangs. Punish him for pulling these out. These attacks are very much not scary. I guess if you're in a 4-player lobby, it's a little bit scarier. I'm going to show you the retreat option that you do have for Mega Boomerang. If he does the charge jump, you just walk far away. He can't really corner you either with the attack. I guess if you are right next to a wall, you would have to walk behind him, and that would lose you some time and actually gaining some distance. So probably not as effective there. Just always be prepared to dodge if he's close enough to you. Again, you get the feeling of it in the first 4 quests. You should really have it down by now, unless you were, playing with other people, and that does throw off learning how to dodge timings and stuff. And if you're not an adept hunter, it's going to be a little bit more difficult too, because I don't even know if those are actually possible to dodge if they are below the 6 iframes of animation you have for, or invincibility you have for base rolls. I guess you could always just absolute evade it, but cats don't always have that option. We do have soothing rolls though, so I guess that works too. All right, dodge into this. So we do have go fight one once more. I'm gonna look for a chance to reapply this. Perfect chance. And now mega boomerangs are gonna come out whenever he does something. This is not gonna work out very well unless he looks at our palicos, and then it's gonna work out great. Go for that tail. He's not suplexing it. Go ahead and spin. Nice damage off on the tail here. You can go ahead and spin once more. A little greedy, could have done something forward there, but we're out at the end of the hunt. I'm not really too worried about it. All right, suplex once more. Go ahead and get this mega boomerang out, and he places his face right in front of you, so it's great counter potential. Also doing a taunt here, which is great for us. Dodge that. Pulling another one out of the ground. This is the long one. And if you don't know the difference between the long boulders and the wide boulders, I think they're the exact same model. It just depends on how he holds them. The wide ones go out wider whenever he destroys them, and the long ones go out longer whenever he destroys them. Go ahead and dodge that. And hopefully this will be the finisher. He should be low on health here, because it's not like we've been too slacking on damage. All right, he's doing this jump combo here. Want to be careful. There we go. That should be the finisher. Never mind. It's not the finisher. He does them 4 times. I've only ever seen him do it, or I've only ever took a note of him doing them 3 times. I could just be completely ignoring him whenever he does it 4 times. But now we know we can do it up to 4 times. Go ahead and spin here. That missed. Misjudged my direction. All right, he's pulling those out of the ground, so we get some free damage off here. Only 1. That may be because his tusks are broken. I don't think he's exhausted. He might be exhausted though. No, he's not. In fact, he's enraged now. Go for the legs there, maybe get a topple or something. Careful. This is the annoying parts of the attack while he's holding the boulder. Now we get some free damage off here. Nice topple. Yeah, we'll go for the tail here. He might be up by the time it reaches him, and we won't be able to deal too much damage to it. We did. We got most of the damage off on it. So that's good. And there we go. Didn't quite strike 35 minutes. 38 seconds till. But yeah, Not terrible at all, and that's just because we did all of the harder ones before this one. This one is actually quite easy. Yes, it still took 30 minutes. Some others took less than that, but it's an easier hunt. Doesn't mean he has less health or anything like that. Either way, I've carved him up, and I'll meet you back at base. All right, back to the base. We'll go ahead and look at the equipment. And as I've said before, lower tiered monster, so it's going to be lower tiered equipment. I can find the Drilltusk Horn Double Cross, only 152 defense, 6 fire resistance, 6 dragon resistance, -6 water resistance, -6 thunder resistance, and 0 ice resistance. Very lackluster. You're probably not going to be making this for the armor. As for the weapon, it's going to be the Drilltusk Pounder Double Cross. 228 melee, which is high. However, only blue sharpness, I believe negative affinity, which is also not great. And also the same raw on the boomerang side. You have much better options. If you're playing melee, you're going to be using element. If you're playing boomerangs, you're going to be using element or status. And if you are playing bombcats, there are much easier and better methods of getting weapons that are stronger. All right, and there we go. Our second to last deviant is down. You know what the final one is. He's a glass cannon of sorts, even though he doesn't look like it. And hopefully we shouldn't have too difficult of a time against him. Either way, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you for that.